Need a new manager in real life, do they? Interesting. Hello and welcome to part 68 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we're away against Macclesfield and then at home against Salford, both in League 2. Since you were last with me, the usual kind of up and down form. League form has generally been okay. We had Sedwin Scott score 4 goals in a game, which was nice. 4 goals in half an hour, and then a goal in the next game as well. But we did lose that game. Tranmere seemed to be our bogey team, but then we struggled to get past Salford, who, in the FA Cup, they're bottom of League 2. We're going to play them today, and we just couldn't get past them over 2 FA Cup games. It was ridiculous. And this Checkatrade Trophy was weird as anything. We lost our first 2 games in our group. But then on the final match, we played against the team who were in second place, Swindon, and we needed like a 4-goal swing plus Plymouth to beat Leicester under-23s for us to have a chance of going through. We beat them 6-1. Leicester under-23s lost, and we've somehow made it through to the next round of the Checkatrade Mickey Mouse Nonsense Trophy, despite losing the first 2 games of a 3-game group, which, I mean, it doesn't feel like that should be a thing you can do. But this is the team we're putting out there for today's game away against Macclesfield. Robbie Nadat is fit again, everybody. The panic is over, so he returns in goal. We've got Anderson, Laskowski, Sawyer and Mole as our back four. Mole, I don't think you've met yet. Francesco Manuel Monet. I imagine it's not pronounced in such a fancy way. But he's an 18-year-old Spanish right-back with 2.5-star current ability and 4.5-star potential. Signed on a free transfer from Man United in the summer. And he might be the new Reece Williams. He's played a couple of games, particularly in the Cup for us, and looks quite promising. So we're going to give him some game time in the league as well. And then we've got Darwin, Hurd and Chambers-Shaw in midfield, with Blackford in behind McDonald and Hendon. Dan Fisher has gone off the boil a little bit. I mean, his average rating over the last 5 games would suggest otherwise, but he's been a little bit rough over the last few games. Weird. Well, we'll go with McDonald and Hendon today. We might bring on Fisher and Scott. We've got some good strikers. I don't really know who my best 2 are at the moment, because it seems whoever's in the team, they tend to score. And then if they don't score for like 2 games, I drop them. And then the guy who comes in to replace him scores for a couple of games. And then when the other one comes back in again, they score. I mean, oh, what a horrible problem for a manager to have. I've got 4 strikers who all score whenever they play. Poor old Kev. But it does mean that he's proving to be difficult to pick a regular strike partnership. The obvious one is McDonald and Fisher. But sometimes they just don't work, and you need a little bit of Sedwin Scott in your life. Right, Mole, that's your first opportunity to see him touch the ball. He did give it to Hurd, I think it was, who just gave the ball away. But it's now back with Blackford again, this is a very rare start for him in behind the front 2. We're struggling a little bit for creativity in that area. Ball hasn't really been the same player this season. Hopefully it's just a little phase he's going through. His difficult 4th season, would it be now, for Ball? And Darwin, who we brought in basically to challenge Ball for that position, I'm actually using him far more often in midfield 3 because he's a natural Carrilero. I'm keeping Sir Tom Elliott out of the team. But Blackford, he can have a go to see if he's the man who can put some pressure on Ball. Maybe if he doesn't do the business today, we'll just drop him. I mean, we've got a lot of players and a lot of good young players who we can kind of interchange with each other and pick the ones who are in form, and if they drift out of form or they drop down in their fitness a little bit, we can just draft someone else in. And I think this is comfortably the strongest Nuneaton squad we've had so far, even accounting for the fact that Williams left last Christmas, because I think in Worrell Bristow and Mole, we've got potentially better options than him, or options that are at least as good as he was. And I think we could probably still afford to let Sawyer go as well, because it seems silly having Redhead down on the bench when he's a player he'd be good enough to play in the back 4 of any team in this division. All that being said, we don't look like we're playing particularly well today. But there's Laskowski, knocks it back to Nadat, and hopefully this is the start of a big counter-attack. There's Darwin in that Carrilero position we were talking about before. Chambers-Shaw, forward to McDonald, who tries to play Hendon in, and Hendon's not really looking with it today. I don't know how far into this game he's going to survive if he lets the ball keep bouncing off him the way it has done a couple of times now already. There's McDonald, does win the ball back, and should have at least forced a save out of their keeper, but it goes wide. And neither of the strikers looking particularly threatening at the moment. And when you consider the amount of goals that Cedwyn Scott and Dan Fisher have scored so far this season, I feel a double substitution of strikers in my future if they don't start getting a little bit more accurate with their shooting. That was lovely from Modo. Went past his man, played it into Chambers Shaw, and there's Blackford. But again, we don't test the keeper. We're getting shots, albeit not many. We've only had 2 apparently, and missed them both. I thought we'd had more than that, but apparently we haven't. So perhaps we can't blame Hendon and McDonald too much. If the chances aren't being presented to them, then they struggle to score them. Although those 2 opportunities that we had, we should have done a little bit better with. We'll leave things as they are for maybe the first 15 minutes of this half. And Dan Fisher has been told to just warm up and stay warm. You're coming on any time now, because Hendon is having a really poor game, and we're not even going to leave it. We're not even going to leave it to the hour mark, I don't think. We're going to let this highlight finish, and we're going to bring Dan Fisher on for Hendon, because I can't afford to have a 6.2 when we're chasing a game. And we've got a player who, albeit not looked as threatening in the last couple of games, has still got more goals than games this season in the shape of Dan Fisher. Why did I not play him from the start, I hear you ask? I don't really know, is my response. Right, let's get Cedwyn Scott on as well. And Darwin's been rubbish, so we can bring Skelton on for him. And swap those 2 over? No, better off the way they were. Leave it like that. And come on, gentlemen, let's find our way back into this game. We already know Salford are a team we're going to lose to, because we keep losing to them. So even though they're bottom of the league, we can't afford a 2-defeat episode, especially when we started it in 4th place, just outside the automatic promotion spots. I know Macclesfield are challenging for promotion along with us, but we have not looked very good today at all. And I don't like it when we don't look very good. Right, Anderson. Can we build something from the back here with Skelton taking his time to pick out the right pass? He went to Hurd. That's never been the right pass, I don't think. But Fisher nips in to a delaying defender. Delaying, dilly-dallying, slow, not... Who cares? He missed. And they're all missing today. It just seems I was too positive about the strikers. I was talking about how good they all are and how, I've got 4 strikers who always score. Well, they've decided to prove me wrong. By all 4 of them are getting the opportunity and not one of them will score. And that serves me right for being positive about Football Manager. Right, Blackford to Chambers Shaw. Fisher surely this time. How does he miss that? Oh, he scores that all day long. Fisher again. And this time forces a save out the keeper. We are now being mugged. We've had 2 clear-cut chances to their 1. There is a mugging in process, everybody. Progress. Words aren't coming naturally to me today. And this is just going to be one of those days, isn't it? At least we can't blame Nadat this time. We just have to blame the strikers, because they've had the opportunities. In the first half, we were talking about them not really getting the opportunities. Second half, they absolutely have, and they've just not taken them. And it's been pretty poor all round, really. The whole team's played pretty badly. Scott to Fisher, and again... How is Dan Fisher not? That's why Dan Fisher didn't start. You might have to go back and edit your comment where you said, why didn't you start Fisher? That's why, because he's been doing that for the last couple of games. He's just gone off the boil. It always seems to be the way with these free-scoring strikers. They just hit a wall at some point in the season. I don't know if it's when they hit a certain number of goals or when they get tired or whatever it might be, but eventually, bang, we're not going to score for 2 months now. Let's go play Salford. So, a couple of changes for the Salford game. I brought Hudson in at left back, and I've also brought Garrick in up front and Ball in behind the front 2, plus Skelton in midfield. I've done that thing I was talking Redheads back into. I'm just randomly moving players around. Mike Payne's in goal. I basically repicked the entire team because I don't know what to do. I don't know why we were so rubbish in that last game, and I'd like us to be less rubbish in this one. And it seems like if we pick a largely different team, that might make us less rubbish. I have no idea at all who my best team is at Nuneaton at the moment, and it's November. It's the end of November, and inexplicably we're in the playoff places. I do feel a little bit at this stage like the club would be a lot better off if I became director of football, because my transfer policy is doing wonders for both the club finances and for just the quality of player that's coming through the club. So I'd do a cracking job as a director of football. I think in real life at this point, though, I'm having a word with the chairman and saying, look, I I don't really know what's going on the pitch. I don't know what my best team is. Tactically, I've been doing the same thing for nearly 10 years. Shall I just do the transfers and you bring someone else in to pick the team? And then between the two of us, we'll decide when they need sacking. And I think that's where we'd be going. I feel a little bit like tactically wise, I've taken this team as far as I can. But I think with a little bit of transfer wheeler dealing over the next 10 years or so, we'll still make it to the Premier League. It's just not going to be in a conventional style that you'd expect from one of these Road to Glory style Let's Plays. This is why I've never done one of these before, and I'll probably never do one again, because they're really, really hard. I keep getting offered interviews at championship clubs, and I'm thinking, and I can't go there. We're 1-0 up, by the way, if you're just listening while cooking your dinner or something, you're not watching. McDonald scored, so that was a good reason to keep him in the team. He's one of the ones who didn't get on the chopping block as a result of me sitting here rolling a 11-sided dice 5 times to work out which players to drop. Right, Laskowski, big ball forward. And it doesn't really... I mean, it wasn't ever meant to find one of our players. The whole point of that was just to get the ball out of our half. So I won't be too critical of him. And we're up to 5th as it stands. And still... I mean, even after everything that went on in that last game, if everything ends as it does now, we're level on points with Macclesfield, who just outclassed us. And only 1 point worse off than we were at the start of the episode in relation to getting into that automatic promotion. 4 points away rather than 3. We're still not even halfway through the season. If we're 4 points away from automatic promotion with 10 games left, I'll be happy. So I can't really complain about league position or how the season's going overall, but we are just a very frustratingly inconsistent team, and I have to take like 80% of the responsibility for that because I haven't got a consistent 11 players that I'm using. So how on earth can I expect consistent performances out of them? But my excuse is you pick the 11 best players, because I sure as heck don't know who they are. There you go, triple substitution. We get Fisher, Blackford, Chambers, Shaw all on. I can't remember. Did those 3 start the last game? So I think we're now closer to the team from the last game than we were at the start, maybe. Although Payne wasn't in it. Oh, I don't know. Fisher didn't start either game, did he, despite being our top scorer? Because there's some Kev logic for you. Right, Hudson aims towards Fisher. Let's see if his finishing's any better today. Goodness me, it is. That's a lovely goal. It's 2-0. The good old faithful strike partnership of Fisher and McDonald is doing the business for us today. We're 2-0 up with 20 minutes to go. And fingers crossed, the nonsense is over again for a little while. We're back to winning ways. And it hasn't really hurt us. This is a really inconsistent division. Nice little fancy pants cartwheel from Dan Fisher there to celebrate his goal as well. Can't complain about that. Corner comes in from Blackford. Darwin to Chambers Shaw. Back to Darwin. It's 3-0 now. I think that one was an own goal. That puts us back up to 4th place, which is exactly where we were at the start of the episode. It's a bit of a goal mouth scramble. We can't take too much credit for what's gone on here. But... can't take any credit at all for what's gone on there. It's like a poacher's finish from their defender, which I'm never going to complain about. But at 3-0, so remember, Salford are bottom of the league. We should be thumping Salford. We don't want to get too overexcited about this. But importantly, we have got ourselves a win. We've stayed in the promotion hunt. And we just at the death there have moved back above Coventry again, which is always nice in their capacity as our local rivals. McDonald, have we got time for a 4th? It's with Chambers Shaw. He's got space to run into as well. I think we might have time for a 4th here. Comes across to Darwin. He does grab number 4. It's a lovely assist from Chambers Shaw, who has come off the bench and played really well. I mean, it confuses me even more. Is Chambers Shaw a player who should be starting? Did I start him in the last game? I'm not entirely sure when I last started Aidan Chambers Shaw, but he's played well there. That was New Omar-esque from his good half that he had last season. That's the sort of thing he was doing when I got all overexcited about him. But I think that's probably going to be that now. A comfortable 4-0 win. We've got second best goal difference in the whole league behind Forest. On the face of it, it's been an incredibly good season, but goodness me, has there been some ups and downs to get us to this point. And I have no idea where we're going to finish. It's all completely up in the air still. But we're in 4th. Hooray! If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.